You're tuned into the In the Know Breakfast Show with BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. I'm your host, AD. I've called today's segment, Do You See Me? Do You See Me is about the importance of being able to see yourself in jobs that are really dominated by people that don't look like you, whether it's skin, color, gender, race, or religion. So today I have my guest who's an aspiring physician, a community leader, and liaison officer from Burundi. Please welcome Engano Singae Hbhuye. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Awesome. Lovely to be here.
Can you tell me what it is exactly that you do? What is it like in a day in the life of Engano?
Oh, that's a very good question. I am super active in a day. So I'll start off my day. Most of my days, obviously doing my studies. So I normally start my studies around 8 to about 2 p.m. And I'm actually obviously a biomedical student aspiring to become either a sport doctor or just a doctor, a GP in the near future. Or if, I also want to do either those two, or I can do physiotherapy as well, which is something I also really, really have looked into, and I think I would definitely love. That's the first beat. Second beat is
it the sports aspect of physiotherapy that you like? Like, what is it about physiotherapy?
I think it's just in general, just working with the human anatomy is something that really, 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 really excites me. And I think it's an area that is so accessible because I'm a human being and there's human beings everywhere. And I think knowing one's body and how it functions and works and how you can prevent injury, prevent disease and so on, that's the type of thing that really, really inspires me. And one actually got me excited about the whole idea of potentially wanting to work in a field like this. And when I put my foot down in my studies, I did really well in school. And I said, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. And that's where it all started. Yeah.
Wow. What else do you do? I cut you off there and we went off.
No stress. No, please feel free to ask questions. I love questions. So again, the other aspect of me is I do a lot of work in the community. That's probably, if I'm not working my paid job, which as you can tell, if you're watching this by the cap, I do some casual work with Bunnings Group. I love Bunnings Group because they work with communities and it's just something, and they've helped me in the past as well with some of my work that I do.
Wow.
And so, I've actually have a great relationship with Bunnings. And so I've been working with them now for about 4 years now. So it's been a while. But as I said, majority of my time is actually spent in the community, on the ground, doing community work. What that looks like, if you're thinking about it, is I do a lot of work with women and children. I have a large soft spot for women in our community, especially in the African community, because I feel like they don't have nowhere as much attention, nowhere as much opportunities as the males do. If you think of anything group related, it's usually male dominated, be it sport, be it gatherings and so on. It's usually the pillars are usually males. The foundations are usually patriarchal and so on. And I thought to myself, look, I'm one of 8, and of those 8, 5 are girls.
Wow.
And I start, you have to think outside the box. So like, if you want anything, if you were to envision a future for your sisters, what would it look like?
That's it.
So, and then you start thinking to yourself, well, it's not very bright if things keep going the way they're going. So how about you start creating the future now, so that by the time your sisters are out there, and I'm not just talking about my physical sisters, but all my sisters in the community are out there, they have various opportunity to do whatever they want. Because that's the accessibility. That's the accessibility of males. Most males in our community, they have that. They have access to almost everything, and I wanted that for 2 groups, which are just extremely vulnerable, which are the women and the children. And so I started a small community group, back in 2012 when I was extremely young. I would have been about 15, turning 16 when I actually started that group.
Wow.
Called Acts of Random Kindness. and it was just a community group dedicated to helping children have something to do in the community. The way this organization or program back then was born was very spontaneous, very unplanned. I had no intention to do it, but I was just in the park one day, minding my own business, doing my soccer training. It was during the school holidays, I think of 2012. And I was just there minding my own business, doing my own training. And then suddenly a few kids, I should say kids as children rather, came about and started bothering me. They started mimicking what I was doing, and I had my music loud in the park and so on. They wanted to get in touch, they wanted to do what I was doing. And I was thinking to myself, wait, no, guys, though you're disturbing me. This is my serious training. And then it just kind of happened. I decided, what, rather than have these kids or children come here and disturb my session, what I'll do is I'll take half of my equipment and go set up their own station so they can do their own thing there.
Wow.
And that one decision, which was an act of random kindness purely, and that's where the name came from, started a program, because the next day I came to train. Guess what? Those children were there waiting for me.
That's amazing.
And the next day, the first 7 days that I did my training session, those children were just there waiting for me. And the group grew so quickly. Like, it was very, very quickly.
Yeah.
I remember 5 Indian boys, little boys, primary school age, and then by day 7, I had 16. They had told a friend, we're doing this awesome thing. It's school holidays. Everyone's looking for something to do. And I was like to myself, oh man, this is not good. This is not good.
It was your sisters and the random kids that walked up to you in the park that really inspired you to become the huge community man that you are today. Correct. What was it that inspired you to start going down the medical profession?
Yeah. Well,
the medical field.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just a field that needs more people in it, and more people of, as you would say, who aren't equally represented in these fields. And I feel like it's something that anyone can do if they put their mind to it. Simple as that. And I think people of the African community or the African background in general don't always aspire to become something in this field. It doesn't have to be a surgeon or whatever, but just anything in the medical field, because they feel like it's too much, it's too hard. They're dramatically
their reach. And when you don't see very many people that look like you in that profession, it's really discouraging as well.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Because, when someone sets the bar, they set it high in the medical field, especially of African background, but then the way they carry themselves, it segregates themselves from the everyday person. You see, so it's hard for the everyday person to kind of see, well, this guy who looks like me, he's the only one there, but look at what he has to do, or how he has to dress or talk or carry himself around to become to be the person he is. I don't want to do that. I don't want to lose my identity to become someone else so I can please someone else. That's not the point. And when you're and the reason why, again, these two really closely interact, because the reason why I'm in the community so much, my face becomes part of a community, and I think all our faces should become part of a community, because we are a community at the end of the day. Yes. But then, can you imagine me as a doctor? What, how much volume that would speak to the people actually, in the community. That's in terms of, oh, that's the guy we used to play around with. Now he's a doctor. Maybe I can do it too.
That's it. That takes me to my very next question. Like, how important, like you said, and you said it's very important, how important is it to have that kind of representation, people of color in these kind of positions that sometimes do feel unreachable?
Yeah. Well, I think it's extremely important, without a doubt, because, as I said, we need to start looking at ourselves as people who can do anything, and we can get into any field we want. But that's a big hurdle when no one who looks like you is actually in that field.
Yeah.
So you go there and you wonder, you go there and no one looks like you, and you go like, oh, okay, maybe
I don't belong here.
Maybe no one looks like me is not here for a reason. It's not for us. And then you start backing off from these type of jobs. And that's something we have to try and address and also close.
It's always hard. Like, as Africans, nobody wants to be, even the way we show up at parties, we don't want to be the first one there. We always want to come later. We want someone else to show up first.
Yeah.
So in these kind of, really important roles, there is no time to wait for other people to make it first before, yourself. So thank you for, taking that step. I'm sure it was really hard. Well, do you feel like there were any barriers along the way, or is there any barriers right now during your studies and stuff?
Oh, no, for sure. First thing that I gotta mention as well, in terms that I sort of skip, is my father. For a very, very long time, obviously practiced medicine back in Africa before he came here, and so I guess that subconsciously was something that kind of motivated me. But I've never used my parents' success to determine my own success. I think that's poor thinking, because if you start thinking like that, you can use it as an inspiration, but you can't say, because my dad succeeded, I'm going to succeed. No, everyone should be able to follow their own path and determine what they actually want to do. And I think it's very, very important. But in terms of barriers, there's a lot of barriers, and there's always been a lot of barriers. There will always be a lot of barriers, and they're just due to the fact, and we've already mentioned some. Not many people are looking to get into this field who look like me. That's a barrier in itself. And so it made me think, well, if I get there, will I be accepted? Will I be a norm? Will I be as interactive as I am? Will my mindset change? Like someone else's mindset might change if they're in that role. Do I cut the link that links me and my community because I'm in this role? Those type of things.
Yeah.
But one thing I've come to learn as a man growing is that I don't limit myself. I don't cap myself ever. I don't believe there's a limit to anything. I believe you can go as high as you want, so long as you're willing to work. So long as you're willing to work, you can go as high as you want. The person who said the sky's a limit is a lie. The sky is not a limit, because if a rocket can go outside beyond the sky, guess what? Someone's driving that rocket, and that means that person's gone beyond the sky.
That's it.
Yeah, so I think there is no limit. It's just you really have. It's a mindset thing. But the barrier that the mindset is also a barrier, of course, and that's the reason why some people don't choose to go there, because it's just something they can't get over. Yeah.
All right, you're tuned into the In the Know Breakfast Show with BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. I'm your host, AD, and I'm here with Engano. All right, Engano, so can you give us some tips and tricks, to overcome some barriers, that other people may face that are similar, in similar situations as you, feeling like they don't belong, they don't fit into the crowd, still trying to, push ahead? Is there any advice that you can give?
Yeah. I always say, if you're going to make a difference in this world, you need to realize that you are the difference. And so there's a beauty in being different. And that is, it brings range, it brings change, and it brings a lot of positive things with it. And you are not limited to any of that. You see, you can put yourself in any position and be the first. It's a great thing to be the first, because you set the tone, as we mentioned earlier. And that's just one way to look at it. It's like, if I'm there first, then I open the door, or have opened the door for others to come through. Because right now, the way we feel like we can't enter certain roles is because there's no one has actually opened the door for us long enough for others to kind of walk in. Well, not walk in, but work hard to get into. You see, so mindset, again, is that thing that we definitely have to focus on. Because if your mindset is, I can't get there because the door has not, because no one else is there already. No. How about you change your mind to go, let me get there and hopefully open the door, or hold the door open for others to walk through. That's one way to overcome this type of challenges. You got to put yourself in the first, because it's easy to go second and third because the first has set a tone. But if there's no first, how are you supposed to have a second and third and a fourth and a fifth and so on? You can't, especially if there's no first. So it's okay to be a first. Don't be afraid. Of course, change is difficult. Everyone thinks, change is something we totally can't handle. But that's not the case. We can handle change. We can handle it. It's all mindset. Set your mind correct, train yourself, and see yourself as someone who can influence and someone who can actually help out by being the first.
That's it. I totally agree. Every day there will be a challenge, and it's a matter of saying, I'm going to give it a go anyways, or I'm not going to try. Right?
I agree 100%.
And I feel like, people would be surprised with themselves when they give it a go. Like you said, it's not about maths. It's about determination and saying that that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I want to finish off today with all this COVID and stuff going on with 3 things that you're grateful for at this very moment in time.
I think these are simple things that you can think of, which is obviously shelter, family, and accessibility to things that will keep you going. Those 3 things are super essential, and obviously, when you have shelter, you have access to everything else that comes with shelter. When you have your family, you come with everything else that you have access to everything else that comes with family. And when you have, just your everyday routine and things still happening at a modified version, you can continue going. Because a lot of people think because you're restricted to do what you used to do before the lockdown, that it's the end of them. No. I think that's a poor mindset. It should be more like, okay, I'm restricted to do what I used to do every day before the lockdown. How can I still do it in a modified version so that when things go back to normal, you see, that I'm not completely changing over? And I think it's very, very important for us to remember that it's not that we stop doing what we used to do. It's we modified doing what we used to do so that it suits the current situation.
Yeah, I mean, some people are taking it as a very long vacation, and it's going to be quite a rude awakening when life starts again.
That's for me. Mindset is something that I think we just need to address more often because it's not addressed, and a lot of people don't talk about mindset. It's purely because they're comfortable. But when you're comfortable, just know that you're missing out. Because if you take yourself out of your comfort zone and try something new, only then can you actually realize the learning, the development, the maturation that you actually go through. So definitely don't, completely stop what you used to do. No, just modify it and make it work for you with this current situation.
Thank you so much for joining me today. You were tuned into In the Know Breakfast Show with BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. I was your host, AD, and with me today was Engano. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. A lovely pleasure being here.